Good morning, friends. This is your old girl, Melanie Rose, here to share your daily aspects. Today is Friday, November 26, 2021. The sun is in Sagittarius today, and when this is the case, we all take on to some degree the traits of Sagittarius suns. Sagittarius is our mutable fire sign. Mutable means changeable, and the mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, are generally open to changing up the plan and trying something new or different. The fire element's effect on this trait creates a lust for adventure, excitement, and fresh learning. The downside of the mutable fire influence is that we may become easily bored and restless when things aren't so stimulating. Fire also influences us to be more interested in ourselves than the people around us, and in Sagittarius, this sometimes comes across as a distracted or detached energy. But this selfish or self-loving energy affects everyone a little bit differently. Personally, I think it's really important to focus on ourselves sometimes, and let's be careful not to exclude those people that bring connection and support to our lives. It is a really easy thing to do to let our partners in the world know how much we appreciate what they do and who they are. The moon begins in Leo today, making ingress to Virgo this evening. This represents another shift in the heart and home from fixed, fiery vibes to a more mutable, earthy tone. From celebration back to planning, and this is appropriate as the waning gibbous moon, nearly third quarter phase of this moon, invites us to revise our goals and reflect on what no longer works for us. Okay, let's take a look at these planets and aspects before we get into the interpretations. I have prepared a legend of the symbols we'll be looking at today so that we can start with an idea of what energies are at play. At the top of the list, as ever, we have the sun, and the sun represents our outer life. This is who we are when we step out the door. This is the person people get to know when they meet us for the first time. It's how we behave in the social, work, and civic spheres. Also, we have the moon. Moon represents our inner life. This is our relationship with ourselves, our emotions, our intuitions, the things that we know. And it also relates to our behavior in the domestic sphere. Venus is on board today because Venus represents the day Friday. And Venus is your planet for love and money, or in other words, how do you relate to those people and things that you value the most? We also have Jupiter up here today, mainly because Jupiter represents Sagittarius. Jupiter represents growth and opportunity, positive expansion, really good fortune and good luck as well. Mercury is up here in the corner, reminding us that we have Mercury in Sagittarius. Mercury is the planet for the intellect, especially those day-to-day thoughts, ideas, communications, and plans that we make. Also the traveling around that we do. We have Saturn on the board today. Saturn represents those structures that we have the responsibility to maintain so that we can support ourselves. And Chiron here represents our healing, or actually how we can heal, and often like in what kind of healing we're getting at the moment. As for our aspects, I see an opposition here. Opposition generally represents the potential for conflict, but it also represents a potential for finding the balance, which is not, going to an extreme, but really more finding a middle ground. We have Sextile on the board today. Sextile represents a generative, cooperative energy. And we have Ingress down here, same Ingress. And that's a transition. As the moon transitions from the sign of Leo into Virgo, we may notice a transition in our hearts and homes. Signs of mention today, because they are on the board, are Sagittarius, Leo, and Virgo. Sagittarius is down here too. Okay, so I have divided our aspects into two columns, one for each of our luminaries. The moon sheds light on our nights and it sets the tone for our emotional experiences and our domestic relations. The moon moves very quickly, creating many brief aspects that represent ambient energies that may produce moods and other internal experiences for us throughout the course of the day. The sun sheds light on our days, and I address the rest of the planets on this side because these aspects take longer and they have more to do with our actions and interactions out in the world. We start with the moon today. Central Standard Time, friends. At 10:24 a.m., a void of course moon runs in opposition to Jupiter. The moon and Jupiter always have a great time together. We connect easily with others. The conflict comes in if we lack self-control. Sometimes we're having such a good time that we can overshare or even be too generous with our attention and resources. This is a 2-hour aspect. Have a good time. Don't overdo it. And then down here at 8:24 p.m., the moon makes ingress to Virgo. Now, the moon in Virgo makes us feel alert and aware. We can easily take in a lot of information and quickly turn it into a plan. This is a great transition for problem solving, especially in our emotional and domestic lives. This transit lasts 2.5 days. So, let's see. Alert and problem solving. So today's lunar energy signature brings us some really positive vibrations that allow us to celebrate a little bit before we get back down to planning. I would also point out that the moon is void, of course, most of the day today. I'm just going to put all of this in a bracket. This is void, of course. Moon. When the moon is void, of course, it is basically between signs, and this is an 8 to 12 hour period that is not powerfully influenced, in this case, by either Leo or Virgo. Void, of course, is a great time to relax and reflect, get into some meditation, and open up your intuitive practices. Couraged. As for the sun side of the page, today at 7:03 p.m. Okay, friends, it's called Saturn Sextile Chiron, and this one is longer than most of the solar side aspects we see. It looks to me like some life lessons time. And we're going to give it some attention over the next couple of weeks. Saturn Sextile Chiron represents a very special opportunity for us to do our magic in practical ways. Because everyone has a different experience. Each of us has unique wisdom and understanding. We don't always get noticed for it, but when we get to put this magic into practice, it makes things better for ourselves and everyone else. Saturn reminds us of the responsibilities we take on in order to maintain the structures that support our lives. Structures like our homes, our families, the cities and towns where we live, the various communities and groups we belong to. Chiron reminds us that each of us has healing to do, And it is from the wisdom of this healing that we bring to those structures, that we bring those structures to reinforce their strength. Sextile is a cooperative vibration, and cooperation makes things happen. So now is the time to reflect on our own structures and what we have in terms of wisdom and insight that we can bring to strengthen the bonds that support us. Wisdom and insight. Bring out to strengthen our bonds. Check the placement of Chiron in your birth chart for more clues regarding what you've learned or have to learn right now about your own healing. Coming up tomorrow, we have a waning third quarter moon in Virgo, and that will be the time to be done revising our goals from last month and to begin reflecting on what no longer serves us so that we can begin to let go of some things. And of course, after this week was relatively light on aspects in general, next week will be a lot more active. Mercury will reach its aphelion, or the farthest point from the sun, on Tuesday. Neptune is stationing to go direct on Wednesday, offering us the opportunity to turn the spiritual growth we've undergone outward into the world. And we will see a new moon next Friday in Sagittarius, which is incidentally our sun sign and our current Mercury sign. And we will talk about these things and more in upcoming episodes. That's it for today, friends. This has been your Daily Aspects, an astrological weather forecast for Friday, November 26, 2021. If you haven't already, please like my video and subscribe to the Old Girl channel. I will leave this up for about 30 seconds so that you may have time to look it over. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. My name is Melanie Rose, and I will see you all back here tomorrow for more Daily Aspects.